So before we begin this lesson, this is lesson 70, I want to give an update on the lesson plan. I know I've spent quite a bit of time on the face troubleshooting. We're on the mth lesson, so that's a lot. We've used pretty much almost half the alphabet. But this is what's left. We're on this right now. This is what's being released today, Monday, September the 1st. And on Wednesday, you get one more troubleshooting video. And then on Friday, I wrap up the troubleshooting. And then next Monday, you get the ears, which I'll knock out in one lesson. And that means next week, Wednesday, I start with the corrective deformation stuff. So that's coming on Wednesday, September the 8th. If you are just skipping through these lessons, make sure to watch out for the conclusion of the face troubleshooting in part 72. So you can forward to the end. I'll have a timestamp and you can listen to what I have to say about finalizing the face troubleshooting. I also run an animation face tester, the face tester that I started with. I do a side-by-side comparison with what we have after all the troubleshooting versus what we started with. So make sure to check out the end of lesson 72 when it comes out on Friday to see the conclusion to all the face troubleshooting. So this was just a quick update and I'm going to jump into the lesson. I just know that it's been a while, and before you guys start checking out, I just want to at least let you know what is coming. We are close to the end of the face troubleshooting and we're going to be starting soon with the PSDs, or corrective deformation. All right, I'm going to start resolving this. I have pushed it to quite a limit to see where this penetration starts occurring, and I'm going to deal with that. First, I'm going to look for the skinning that's responsible for it. Okay, it's definitely coming from the corner of the mouth here. All right, so part of it is the fact that it's assigned to smile bulge. So I'm going to select these points, grow them. Let me deselect the stuff that I don't want impacted. It's mostly this stuff. And start removing assignment. So I'll subtract. And it should only impact what I've selected. Grab a stronger brush. Let me find what else is impacting this. Yeah, the frown bulge is also impacting it. So that taking that away should move us towards completely resolving that penetration. It's a very complicated way to get a smile and a frown. I mean, it works, but it's complicated in as far as like the skinning that's required to make it work is really tough. Find out what else has impact. Select the cheek. Yeah, and as I was reviewing a lot of this, I realized that as far as the inside of the mouth is concerned, I really have to leave majority of that stuff alone and just focus on what the outer surface is doing. Not to leave it alone completely, but count on morph targets to make it look right, not waiting. But definitely things like this need to be repaired. So let me subtract this cheek from here. But if I want to make the inside of the mouth, I'll show you shortly. Like here, this inside of the lip here, that's not sliding across the teeth well. This is not something you fix with skinning. This is definitely something I'll do with in context blend shape. Not that it really even matters, because the only thing we really care about is how the smile looks like on the surface here. But if you are trying to use dynamics and you wanted things to simulate correctly, you do want this to be kind of sitting right on the surface of the lip. And this, some of this can also be resolved by playing around with the driving system, just moving it forward a little bit so that we clear the teeth a little bit. And that's something I might do. But anything beyond that, we'll use corrective morphs. All right, I think that penetration is repaired for the most part. So I'm just going to do a replace with 0 and flood. Okay, just so. All right, let me tone down this smile so I can see how it's, which part of the geometry that is. That's all right. So it's the inside of the mouth here. So best to do some smoothing here just to clean things up a bit. Okay, that looks good. And while I'm here, I'm also going to deal with some of this smoothing. I did a lot of it, but can always do some more. This is what's producing that faceted look, which is gone for the most part, but doesn't hurt to clean it up a little bit more. So in this pursuit to get this nice, clean nasolabial line, I realized that I should be very careful about not destroying the skinning too much just to attempt to get a perfect line. Because realistically, that line, I really can count on corrective deformation to get a nice, clean one. So I'm not going to mangle the skinning to get it. But one thing that I am seeing about what I have so far is that the transition from the lips to the outer part of the lips is a little tight all around. So whether I'm going for a smile like this, if I'm moving it up to go for a smile, I do have some tightness over here, a mess. And also if I was going the opposite direction for a frown, it gets a little messy. And I did try to clean this up. This needs definitely a lot more cleaning up on the vertex level. I need to go in there and make sure these singular ones, I could get it as clean as possible, because I know smoothing would be an issue. And I also have to deal with this the same way I dealt with it up here just a few moments ago, fixing that. But I do want to get this transition at the top area. I think it's more at the top than any other place. It's also a little bit at the bottom here. There's a really tight crease that's happening every time you try to push the control to an extreme. Not so much in the frown, but definitely for the smile. and it might also extend here. What I want to do, let me go to build pose, so just zero this out, is make sure that these lip controls have just slightly a little bit more influence up here, and that seems to be what softens that transition. So I'm going to push for a smile. Actually, what I'm going to do is set a few keyframes, or just one actually. Set a key at 0, and then maybe go to 38 and move the control up here. And also set a key there. Okay, so I can slide and fix it a lot better. I'm going to go back and edit this driving system because there's some things I want to change, but I want to deal with this first. So as I trigger this, I start to see over here where I seem to have some of it done. Let me bring back geometry selection, go to weight painting. Like here, I have these joints, they're extending up and influencing a lot more, and things are cleaner there. Well, as you get down here, it gets a little tighter. So what I'm going to do is do an add with a 0.05 and just gradually just tap just to loosen up the geometry over there. Let me slide a little bit more. All right, looks like I might need a lot more than I'm doing.